night live with my family garden. So let's see who comes in and joins us. So far, have we got any people who are coming in to say hello? Let's have a look. So it's been a mad day today. We went out yesterday, and Brian from Allotment Life, he he had a spare. He had a hedge trimmer that he said I could have. So I went and got that, and today I've been figuring out how to use that and getting starting on the hedge, trimming all the hedges and stuff. So it's been quite fun actually. Got a fair bit of work done. Got quite a lot of, got half of the garden done, and we're just gonna carry on doing that and getting the rest of the garden done. So let's see who's popped in. So we've got Deadly. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Who else has popped in? We've got 13 people, 5 likes. As you're coming in, if you could hit that like for me, I'd really appreciate it. Sky, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Um, is your dad coming in tonight as well? And everyone else? So yeah, so half the hedges we trimmed that down, and I mulched all that with a lawnmower like I normally do, and got all that onto my new bed that I created last week. Brian, how are you doing? Brian from Allotment Life. Speak of the man himself, and he pops in. Brian, I was just talking about you. Thank you very much for that hedge trimmer. I've started putting it to some use. I was trying to figure out how to use it. It took me a bit of getting the hedge trimmer attached properly. So we got it working. The battery came today as well. I've got half the garden cleaned up, the other half to go. So yeah, looking forward to doing that tomorrow, finishing that off. Abu Hassan, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Ali D, all the way from Canada. Hope you're keeping well. Thank you very much for coming in. Andrew, hope you're keeping well. Um, so yeah, Sky, are you wearing shoes? um, Yeah, so Brian, it works a treat. It works a treat. It's a lot lighter compared to my petrol hedge trimmer. Absolutely, it's definitely a lot lighter compared to my petrol hedge trimmer, and it just makes things so much easier. You know, maneuvering and everything. It's really useful. So Deadly's asking, where do I get my coriander seeds from? I just get them from the grocery shop. So local Asian grocery shops, they sell coriander seeds for cooking. So I just use that. Yeah, we just use that. That's all it is. It's not. They're not. They're not horticultural seeds or anything like that. The seeds from the shop will germinate, and they'll germinate just fine. You don't. Yeah. So the amount that we go through, if I was to buy stuff from seed suppliers, it just costs a fortune. It cost an absolute fortune, um, because the amount of seeds that they provide, I'd be going through them every week or so. It just wouldn't be enough. But what I do quite a bit is I save a lot of my own seeds. Um, So it's been another one of those hot days again. Noisy neighbours playing music, but I think I managed to get a video out. Oh, well done. Have you published it or have you just filmed it? Because I haven't had a notification if you published it. We've got a couple of noisy neighbours, noisy neighbours that have just moved in around the corner. And honestly, you'd think there was a massive festival going on. They've got these massive outdoor speakers, and the house shakes when they're playing the music. They're about 5 or 6 houses away, but it feels like you can feel the vibrations. It's that loud. The massive outdoor PA system is crazy. So Dad and Kyle is out at pool, and Elizabeth says, "Hi, Elizabeth. How are you doing? Hope you're keeping well." Uh, oh, that's nice of them to be. It's nice to be at a pool in this weather. It's perfect weather for it. So lunch didn't last long. Did you like it, Brian? Um, so Ali saying mixed bag of weather here, almost perfect. It pours rain at night and gorgeous sunny in the day. It's only 12 lunch here. Ali, that'd be perfect. Perfect. That we haven't had a rain. I mean, all of May it rained. It was completely sodden with rain throughout the whole of May, but since the start of June, we haven't had a single drop of rain. I I'm desperate for a good soaking. I just hope that we could get a good soaking right now. We'd really need it. Um, Chris is here. How are you doing? I've actually made it, so glad to be here. Chris, I'm glad you made it. Yeah, it's not always nice having you here. If you haven't seen Chris's video, she put out a video today with some really nice pictures of a garden. I love you get some amazing birds coming into your garden as well. The one of the crow, it just looked like there's a crow in the tree, and it was just looking like it was just supervising everything. I think that you get some good snaps as well. Really good. Um, so we wanted to have a bus night all week, a boys' night. Okay. So good. Let them have a good night. It's good that they're having enjoying themselves. Um, so Brian loved his lunch. Wife and so we went over to see Brian yesterday, because Brian gave us well, my hedge trimmer died last week, a couple of weeks ago, and Brian kindly he's got an electric hedge trimmer that he doesn't use anymore, a battery powered one, and he said I could have that, and so I went over to see him and I took him some lunch. So I'm glad you liked it, Brian. Um, you're very welcome, Chris. Not a problem at all. Hello from sunny South Wales. Uh, Maze, come here. Do you want to try pronouncing this word? That one there.
Where?
Maisie Quimmer or something like Maisie Quimmer.
Crime.
I'll probably mangle that. Look, I struggle with my normal words, trying to get them out properly. Well, I hope it gets better. Too dry is only good for slugs. Yeah. We need a good, a proper rain. I think. Um, Greenfly have been mad this year. We've had. Do you know, if I walk out into the garden, especially if I go down to the bottom end of the garden, I'll get covered in greenfly. So not just the plants, it's me. They're walking all over me and they're crawling all over me.
Yeah, I saw lots on there. Think fork handle.
On the fork handle,
Yeah.
there's loads. They're absolutely everywhere, and they're massive greenflies as well. Um, I'm at home laid up, very bad back at the allotment yesterday. Oh no. How did you do that? So Nick, you think it was pretty good? I'm sure I've mangled it.
Did you say you broke your back?
No. Leslie's hurt her back.
Oh, I thought you said broke your back.
So on one of the vines. Yeah, Brian, I did see your tomatoes. Which ones are they? Which plants are they? Because I've got a few trussers of tomatoes that have set. Some of my tomato outdoor girl have set, and some of my sweet million have set as well. Uh, I planted them quite early. Well, I sowed them quite early, so about February time I sowed them, and they've come up an absolute treat. Um, they did get quite leggy, but because I plant them quite deep, so when they get quite leggy, I put probably about at least a third to a half of the plant underneath the soil, and that gives the plant a chance to establish its roots and properly get a solid foundation, and then because we planted them early, we'll have probably ripe tomatoes by the end of this month, and I think that's a good little treat. I can't walk. I think I did some lifting I shouldn't have. Oh no, Leslie. Um, have you got a tens machine? Tens. I use a tens machine for when my back's bad, and that really helps quite a bit. So if you've got a tens machine, that might help. Um, or has Dean given you a massage yet? Because that'll always help. It's buffering. Is anyone else getting any buffering? So time to keep the polytunnel damp down. Found a few little nasties kicking about. Spider mite. Um, how bad do you get your spider mite, Brian? Because we've got really bad ant infestation in my red greenhouse. Loads and loads of ants. So my hotbed, there's a massive ant's nest in there. Um, about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, my mum had a little bit of a fall in there, and she pulled one of the sides of the hotbed off. So when I put that back together, um, I I had to remove some of the compost from the hotbed and move everything back on. And you could just see the eggs everywhere and the ants crawling about everywhere. So there was a lot of ants in there. Um, but I think that's why the green fly this year in the greenhouse are really bad because of the ants harvesting them. Um, so, so okay, all good in. So Ali's saying it's all good. First time I've had them here. Um, so my peppers have aphids, so I spray them with soap and neem oil. Um, Soap will kill them. Neem oil will stop them reproducing. And what I've been doing as well on top of that is just acting like a predator myself. So I've been going in there, and anytime I see aphids, I just squish them. Um, yeah, that helps quite a bit. Visa, I'm from Gloucestershire. I had first strawberries last week, so nice. The green fly are mad. Bike rides through the park. Green fly, not fun riding through the green fly. No, it's I bet it's not. I was cutting the hedges today, and when I was cutting the hedges, they're flying everywhere. So you're breathing them in, and it's nasty. It's proper nasty. Uh, so Brian, I get black ants. It's the black ants that are in my greenhouse, but they're harvesting that. They're farming the aphids. So the aphids are the ones that are causing all the damage from it. um, yeah, we're overrun with ants. Normally, I don't mind ants. I mean, outside they're not so bad, but inside the greenhouse, because I don't get a lot of ladybirds or other predators inside the greenhouse, it can cause a bit of a problem. And especially when it doesn't, when you don't get proper rain, they don't wash when you get a decent rain, the green flies a lot less. Matt B sent you an email about seeds. Check your spam folder. Matt, I'll have a look. Uh, yeah, I'll have a look after the live today. Thank you very much for that. So might be sciatica. I suffer from sciatica really bad. It's not pleasant at all. So if you do have a tens machine or something like that, it can come in quite handy. Suhail Islam, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Growing with Jay, all the way from Baltimore. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Jay, I think this might be the first time you've come into one of my live streams, so introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're doing. So you're in Baltimore, Zone 7B USA, so similar zone to us. I don't mind ants farming, but I object to them throwing their pitchfork. Random piano, Tariq, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. How are you keeping? So there's one of my friends. One of my oldest friends actually. So I've known him since school. Did you find a new ground cover for your new veg bed? For the footpath area? No. What I've ended up doing was I had a slab from when I fixed my stairs in the garden. So I've just taken that slab and put that in place, and I had another half a piece of slab, and I've just fitted that in. And today, when I cut the hedges, I mulched. I shredded all the hedge trimmings up with the lawnmower, and I've just filled in all the gaps with that, so that'll all rot down and make more soil for me. So I didn't go for the ground cover option actually. Um, okay, no problem. I'll talk to you when you call. Finally made one of your live streams. Margaret, thank you very much for coming in all the way from Lancashire. Hope you're keeping well, and I'm glad you could join us on the live. It's always fun when you can get in here. Now it it can get a little bit hectic sometimes, and some of the hecticness has already started. So, what did you have fun at the Yassin's house?
Yep.
Good man. So, if you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like for me. I'd appreciate it. Can you close that door for me?
The person who hasn't hit the like button, hit it now.
Thank you. So, yeah, we're still.
Do not wipe your nose on my hair.
I didn't wipe my nose on your hair.
You did.
Say something, kiddo. Conrad is saying. Conrad wants to say hello to you. So say hello to Conrad.
Hi.
I've seen quite a few pictures of people getting strawberries. Are you growing early varieties of strawberries? Because mine started flowering not about a couple of weeks ago, maybe at the start of June they started flowering. So I don't think we're gonna get any fresh strawberries for at least till the end of the month. So the gladioli you and Dean brought down were planted in a large tub. Don't tell the wife, but I sneaked.
I'm definitely
Is she
telling.
curry gourd in the same pot?
I'm definitely telling.
You're definitely telling what? Oh, you're gonna tell Brian's wife that you planted a gourd in the same pot?
Not really.
Brian, I've got some uchi curry as well growing this year. I'm looking forward to them because they're normally you're supposed to grow them like climbing plants as well, but because I haven't got them any spaces on my trellises or on my gourd arches, they've just gone on the floor and they're just going to ramble about on the floor with the rest of the squash. Strawberries in Kentucky now. I'm way behind my strawberries. I need to get some early varieties. And we just drove by one of our huge strawberry farms and it was full. So yes, strawberries are really early here. Mine are almost done. I'll pick them. Oh wow. Yeah. We're gonna be. Do you like strawberries still, or have you stopped liking strawberries?
Stopped.
You stopped liking strawberries. You used to love strawberries.
No, I didn't.
You did. Yes, you did. Yeah. Um, that's so. Yeah. What have you done to the phone? You're not to. Okay. So, do you have any advice for growing globe artichokes? I've germinated some for the first time this year. Fantastic. We've got a couple of globe artichoke plants. I planted some about 2 years ago into one of the flower beds. I mean, they grow like really pretty plants anyway. So I planted a couple into the flower beds, and they didn't do anything. Like the first year, they grew into a small plant, probably about that high, probably about 6 or 8 inches high. Second year, they grew a little bit bigger, didn't do much. This year, they've really taken off. So, I mean, they're putting out leaves that are about a foot and a half wide. So hopefully this year we should get some globe artichokes harvested. But they're quite hardy plants. Just get them planted, give them a good, nice compost in the planting hole, get them planted into something free draining so it's not too soggy. But once they get established, it might take a year or two. They'll never flower in the first year. At this time of year, probably you wait until year 3 before they start flowering, and that's where we're at. So we're gonna get our first globe artichoke in the 3rd year. What are you throwing out there? Christina, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Yeah, Margaret, give them lots of space. You don't want to. You don't that you won't need to take up a lot of room. See, I've got them in my flower bed, so they're competing at the moment with loads of daisies. They're absolutely surrounded by daisies all over the place. so I'll come and eat all these ones. Deadly, we've got a massive strawberry patch. I think it's about 3 or 4 meters long by about a meter wide. What I do with my strawberries is every year, so I'll start off with a patch of strawberries, and then when I get runners, I'll move on a meter, so a square meter, and I'll keep doing that, and then by the time I get to the very bottom, the first set are ready to come out and new plants are ready to go in. So I just do like a rotation like that, so I know which section's the oldest, and then the next oldest, and then the next oldest. But last year I was a little bit. Sorry, not last year. This year I've been a little bit careless with taking out the old ones, and loads of runners have just filled in the spaces. So I've probably got a lot of unproductive old plants in one section, but as well as a lot of young plants in there as well. I just didn't have time this year to pull off all the runners and pot them up and plant them, or just yeah. So it was quite a difficult, too much to do this year. I'm still way behind where I think I need to be. I've still got if anyone saw the list of jobs that I had to do um, at the start of the year, I've still got my chicken house to make. I've still got my man cave to do. I've I've finished off one section of the raised bed. I've got I've finished off the stairs as well, so that's done. Um, I've got to finish rebuilding my composting area because a lot of my pallet compost bins have rotted down and they're no longer fit for purpose. A lot of the stuff's falling out all over the place, so I need to fix that. Baltic Homesteaders, Gary, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Just dropping in to say hello. Hope you're keeping well, mate. Thanks very much for coming in, saying hello. If anyone hasn't hit that like for me, please hit that like. Um, yeah. So, do you ever weigh your yield one in cost it? I've never. The only the only ones that I'll weigh my potatoes, I'll weigh my garlic. Do you know sort of my big crops? Do you know things that I'm harvesting all together, or if I'm harvesting a particularly large gourd or a large pumpkin or something, then I'll weigh that, and then I'll just as a bit of something to put on a video. But I've never actually yeah, I never actually weigh everything because things like lettuce is just too hard to weigh for me because we're picking lettuce every couple of days. Sorry, every day we're picking lettuce, and we're just picking a few leaves or a handful of leaves. Salad, spinach. We're picking that every few days. Chard, all types of salad leaves. We're picking that every day, every other day. We're picking different ones, and we're just using them every day, either in salads, fresh salads, or cooked. So it's very difficult to weigh that sort of stuff. But when I pick a crop of say potatoes, because I'm harvesting them all together, then I'll weigh them and I'll put them on a video or something. Um, the same with onions. That's another one that's quite hard for us to.
Bolly.
So yeah, same with onions. That's another one that's quite hard for us to weigh because from now all the way up until about October, we'll be picking onions as and when that we need them. So we're picking onions fresh now, and we're using them. Just probably pick an onion or two a day, and just use it as we're going. I've still got a chicken house and compost space to build. Gary, I feel like I just haven't got the time. Um, and until I fix my chicken house and rebuild my chicken house and rebuild my chicken composting system, um, I can't get on with the other things. Because where the chicken house is at the moment, if I can get the new chicken house built or moved over to the new place, then at least I can use that space, build my shed, my man cave, the one that I'm waiting for. Yeah, I'm really waiting to get that one done because I want my own little space, and maybe I'll find room for a hammock. Um, Chris, we do grow a lot of garlic. I mean, last year we harvested about 60 kilos of garlic. Absolute, yeah, it was one of the best years of garlic we've ever had. But we discovered white rot, so I'm not growing as much garlic this year. Um, Probably growing a, a, a fifth of what I normally grow, a quarter or a fifth of what I normally grow. Um, uh, I expect some decent spuds this year. Good
Dad,
luck.
what does 24/7 mean?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Uh,
So you mean all week?
yes. So let's see what's going on. By the way, second batch of F1 Swiss Sweetcorn was much better, so I wonder if it was the temperatures. Gary, same here. What I did was, but this time what I did was I put them in a Tupperware tub, just on a damp piece of tissue, and germinated, chitted them, and then once they got to started showing some leaves, I didn't bother putting them in any soil. I planted them direct into the soil outside, and they're about 4 or 5 inches tall at the moment. Um, so Bill Avila, I've just watched your potato video. Can't wait to harvest. Great advice. Which potato video was that? Was it the one in buckets? That's yeah. I'm hoping to pick some potatoes in buckets tomorrow. So let's see how we get on with that. Um, the excitement in your eyes when you say man cave. Chris, I want my own space. I want my own little hiding place to go and where I can be as messy as I like and grow and maybe even get a. I want to start getting fit again. So I want to put up a heavy bag somewhere, so I can start working out a little bit as well. Because I'm the heaviest I've ever been, so I need to lose a couple of stone as well, and just get myself fit and healthy again. Um, Sophia, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Yeah, we're good, alhamdulillah. Um, yeah, me and my wife have been busy getting the hedges cut and the grass trimmed today. So yeah, we've got a fair bit planted out as well. We A couple of days ago we just went crazy. We got loads of plants out, so loads of squash, loads of chilies, everything's potted up. We're nearly there now. Um, so have you grown corn in containers? Bill, I normally grow corn in the ground. Because the roots get quite big, it's hard to get a deep enough pot for them, and they're quite thirsty as well. So it's better in the ground if you can do it. But if you can't, then you're gonna grow them in containers. Then they'll want probably about 10 liters of soil per plant, I think, and they'd want it quite deep as well. So at least 12 inches deep as a minimum.
Can you lift your computer?
Not now. Just leave it there. Just leave it there.
I'll go on the washing machine.
Okay. Tim, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I've got a row of potatoes and wood chips to get started to poke through. Fantastic. I've been earthing some of my potatoes up today. Actually, we trimmed the hedges, mulched, and cut the grass. So all of that's gone on top of my wood chip bed. I'm out of wood chips after making my new garden area. I'm pretty much out of wood chips. I'm almost out of compost as well, and that's surprising for me because I've normally got bags full of compost. Builders bags full of compost just lying around. Um, so I'm nearly, yeah, I'm nearly out of compost as well. Do you really think the kids will let you have a man cave? See, I bought a shed, right? When we moved here, I bought a shed, and I put a sofa in there, and I put some shelves up in there, and it was gonna house all my tools and everything. And my wife took the shed over, so it's full of all of her stuff now. There's a cot in there. There's the old cot in there, so all the stuff that we're not using in the house anymore, all that's been stored in the shed. None of my stuff's allowed in there anymore. I think I might get space for the lawnmower if I'm lucky. Um, so I want, hopefully, if I can get this man cave. I told the kids I'll build them a treehouse at some point. So that's one thing that I need to get on with as well. We've got this massive sycamore tree at the bottom of the garden, So I was thinking of just putting, if I can figure out how to do it, put a zip line in somehow, um, tie a wire from the tree, but I'm not sure how to what to anchor it to. So if I can get some ideas on that, maybe get a zip line in for them to fly out of the treehouse into the garden. I think they'll love it. Um, got my sweet corn out, but my video will show how difficult it was for me, or anyone with my problems. Okay, Brian. Um, so, have you managed to get it all planted? Managed to get it all planted into the garden now? Because it's not easy for you. It's not easy for you at all. But you're an absolute inspiration. Because I mean, um, yeah, you're an absolute inspiration. Um, Anchor it to the wire shed. It's at the opposite end of the garden. I'd need a pretty big zip line. Um, yeah. Um, so is this the brother from Yorkshire, Newcastle? I'm not from Newcastle. I'm from Yorkshire, but I'm not from Newcastle. Um, Slowly but surely, Sweetcorn also caned up. Sorry. Um, Do you grow your sweet corn in containers, or do you put yours into the ground? Um, I've got two patches of sweet corn, two different types this year. So when I went down to see Nitin, absolutely amazing garden. Now that guy's got a phenomenal allotment. He sent me away with loads of plants, loads of. He sent me away with plants. He sent me away with one of those big, massive blue barrels, um, a, a sack full of perlite, um, containers, probably about 15, 20 plant pots. Just said, yeah, just fill your car up and off you go. Um, and the things that he's doing in his garden is just absolutely inspirational. He's got slides coming out of trees for his kids to climb up the tree and then slide down. He's got places to hang his hammock. He's got places for kids to do little bits of climbing and as well as all the plants. What's the matter? Oh, come on. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. You're okay. Yeah, look. Look. You're crying in front of everyone. Mm. Oh, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Where you going? Where you going? Oh, you're not interested today. Okay. He's not interested today. And so, are you looking to grow any unique veg in the future? If so, what? Unique veg. I don't think. Well, I grow loads of gourds. Grow loads of different chilies. So super hot chilies. Quite a lot of super hot chilies. Loads of bottle gourds. Loads of snake gourds. Loads of gourds. Pointed gourds. So gourds are probably one of the ones that different varieties of those. Sweet corn, cabbage, potatoes. Um, Aubergines. What type of veg are you looking for in particular? Are you growing any carrots? Mine seem to very slow this year. I do grow carrots. I grow carrots in pots. So I grow carrots in. I've got an old wheelbarrow that's sort of rusted and falling apart. So I turn that into a planter, and I use that as a high bed for my carrots. And because they're high up, I don't have to worry about things like carrot root fly. And I've got some carrots going in plant pots. But you're right. I think they are quite slow this year. Normally by this time I've got one harvest already. This year the plants are sort of that sort of size, 3-ish inches. But normally by this time of year I've already got a harvest. So I'm a little bit. Well, we'll see what happens. Um, was going to use containers but decided to plant in the ground. Yeah, I think ground's best for sweet corn as well. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it's out to the garden. Ali, you have a great day. Enjoy yourself in the garden. Hope the weather holds up for you. Um, You're a good gardener, I bet. Tim, thanks very much for that. Being nowadays, kids just need that time, don't they? They need the time, and they need that connection with nature as well. And I love having it both. In the garden. Um, yeah, I love having them with me. Um, so how do you? Hang on. I was born in Bradford, and I miss a proper northern curry. Can't get one down south. Yeah, everything's better in Deadly. Everything's better in Yorkshire. That's my favourite saying. Everything's better in Yorkshire. How do you deal with maggots and pests from eating your harvest? Do you use pesticide or not? What do you do? See, maggots. I don't have a problem with maggots. I get. He's crying quite a bit. Um, we get some slugs, and with slugs, I use things like nematodes. I don't use pesticides. I don't use any chemicals in the garden. The only thing that I will use for things like aphids is I'll use neem oil. Neem oil is an organic. It's not a pesticide as such, so it doesn't kill pests. What it does is plant insects that suck sap. It stops them from reproducing, so it breaks that growth cycle or that life cycle. Um, so I'll use neem oil. If I Every now and then I might use a bit of soap, liquid soap spray, but apart from that, yeah, we don't use chemicals in the garden. I've germinated a new kale called Candy Crush. It's beautiful deep pink centre, which is supposed to be even more healthy. You can now grow a bed or pot. It's really ornamental. Okay, Candy Crush kale. I've never heard of that. Because I've grown, red Russian kale before, curly kale. I'm disappointed by the red Russian kale. To me, it tastes just like eating grass. So I don't grow it anymore. But I don't mind the little scarlet kale. That's quite okay. That's quite nice. But this Candy Crush, I'll have a look at this one. Where'd you get your seeds from? Um, X10 Jinx. Hi, after finding your channel, I've started growing a few simple veg. I've planted some mooli in deep plots, um, and straight into the ground, coming up fine. But when do I know how to harvest them? Okay, great question. Um, so if they're mooli and they're long, sort of, the really long rooted radishes, um, normally, I'd give them at least 90 days before I'd look at harvesting them. The small breakfast type radishes or the small globe type radishes, you can probably harvest them in about less than 2 months. So, probably about 40 to 50 days you can pick them. But with the longer type, I'd definitely wait at least 3 months before I'd look at harvesting them. And you'll also notice that when they're growing, depending on how friable your soil is, sometimes they start popping their heads out of the ground, and you can tell by the diameter of that it's a good one to pick or not. But that's sometimes a bit deceptive because sometimes it looks really fat from the top, and then you pull it out of the ground and it's only an inch deep. So you can get a little bit conned with them as well. Um, Northern Curry, Birmingham, and London, you can't compare to Yorkshire. uh, Steve from Norfolk and Good. I said it, didn't I? I went and said it. Road to self sufficiency. Steve, we're all right, mate. How are you doing? uh, he comes in every time and catches me out. It's parsnips that I've been given problems this year. I'm growing them in a pot for the first time. I've 7 of germinated, but things that's enough for one pot. I've never grown parsnips. It's some it's something that we never really eat. Very rarely will we eat parsnips. Every now and then, when we might get some parsnips and roast them or something. But yeah, it's just something that I very rarely eat. Um, What's different northern parts maybe because they have Mirpuri type of curries. It's the Bengali curries, man. Everywhere. Uh, in Brum, maybe Punjabi type of curries. Noor Ali wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Long time. It's been a long time. Hope you're keeping well, brother. Um, Ali, I was in Birmingham last week. طيب. That's not a nice thing to do. Come on. Do you want to come sit down with me? Come on. Okay. It's a new variety this year, and I got them from Sutton's. Okay. I've never ordered from Sutton's, but I'm gonna have a look at this Candy Crush kale. Let me make a note of that while I'm remembering it. There we go. So that's it. It's on my list of things to get. Um, so I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed with all kale. Probably why one of my kohlrabi has turned out to be kale. Yeah, kale. See, apart from the scarlet kale, the rest of the stuff just tastes like grass to me. Um, Time to sow seeds for a Christmas crop. Yeah, I'm gonna be spending sort of July. In July, I'll start sowing my winter veg. So I'll start getting my potatoes, some more cabbages, or things that are gonna go into the early part of next year for harvest as well. Um, when do we think about sowing those over the bread crops? oh, that's over winter. Steve, yeah, so yeah, definitely in any time from now up until probably the end of August, start getting your winter crops, overwintering crops in. Anything that you want to overwinter or either harvest around Christmas or early spring, get them planted. You've got from now probably till end of Augustish to get that done. Start sowing as well. Do you know if you grow Japanese sensu onions, that's another nice one to start planting as well now. If you start sowing them from seed, by the time it comes to about September October, you'll have small plants, and you can plant those direct into the ground instead of buying bulbs, because for £1 you're going to get 200-300 seeds rather than 20-30 bulbs. Much more economical, I think. So X10, not a problem at all. Steve, another vote for Scarlet Kale. Karen, I need help with greenfly on my fruit trees. The leaves on the ends have curl. Karen, I get really bad greenfly and aphid attack on my plum tree. So what I did earlier on this year was I took a load of the plant out. So I made sure that the a lot of there was lots of light getting into the center of it. It was quite airy, quite looks like a skeleton, but that's promoted a lot of green growth, and a lot of new growth is where the aphids attack. So what I've been doing is any new growth, I've just been cutting those back so they hopefully form fruiting stubs. So that's yeah. The other thing to do is if you can get one of those hose pipe attachments, you know the ones that you can fill. They're made for cart washing cars. So I got one, and they're made for they have like a little container that you can fill it with soap. So what I normally do with that is I'll fill it with soap and just spray the whole tree. So that's a little good trick that you can use as well. I thought parsnips were my nemesis, but sweetcorn this year. Steve, my first sowing of sweetcorn was horrible. My second sowing, I germinated them in a plastic Tupperware pot on a bit of damp tissue, and when they grew the leaves and grew the root, I just planted them direct in the ground, and they're about 4-5 inches tall at the moment. Noor Ali, I'm really sorry about that. I do apologise. Sorry for the mix-up. Um, I put fish under your tomatoes. Have you seen? Have you noticed that make a difference? Um, all the fish were dead. I'm so sorry. I have to run. Chris, you take care, and I'll see you soon. Um, Jeannie, thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. PRR Pakistan, thanks very much for coming in. Ants and mm, mealybugs destroy my plants. Ants won't destroy your plants. Um, Ants generally won't be destroying your plants. Uh, they they generally harvest. They generally farm aphids and things like that, and they're the ones that do the damage, not the ants. Um, but give them with mealy bugs. Make sure you clean the plant every time. Go in there manually, pick them off, squish them. Give them wash the plant, whatever plant you've got. Give it a good washing with some soap. That'll help as well. Um, if it, Wood ash is fantastic as an insecticide. If you can get wood ash that's really fine powdery type wood ash, make sure you wear a face mask because it's not good for you if you're breathing that stuff in. But just dust your plants with some wood ash. Because wood ash is really really alkaline, it'll just melt any insect. But it's bad for if you're going to use it out in the pub, open area, be very careful because it'll be bad. It won't discriminate. It'll kill your bad bugs, but it'll also kill your good bugs. So if you're going to use it in somewhere like a confined space, like a greenhouse, then it's a good idea in there. But be careful with it outside. Um, uh, let's see who else is coming in. Sherry K, thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Um, Sherry, it's been brilliant. We had a really good day. We so Brian gave me a hedge trimmer because mine broke. So I got half the garden's hedges trimmed, mulched that all up. Earthed my potatoes up with it. Added more mulch to the new growing bed that I created. So yeah, we've got a very productive day, and when it's sunny, when it's sunny outside, everything just feels better. So my wife's making faces at me because I'm making hand gestures. Um, they all like to take the mickey out of me for that. Found a toad half buried in my tomato pot in the greenhouse. Leave him. He'll be doing some good work for you. He'll be eating those slugs. I wish I could find some toads. And a few years ago, we had loads of little toads all over the garden. They've disappeared in the last couple of years. Um, we get frogs, but only around spawning season. When frogs spawn, when we get frog spawn and they hatch, and then we get loads of frogs around the garden. But the toads have really reduced, which is one thing that I'm a little bit worried about. Um, Growing with Jay, right? You take care, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Um, new growing bed looks ace. Steve, I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with that little growing area. Got a lot of pumpkins, so I've probably got about 6 or 7 pumpkins in there. Quite a lot of sweet corn. I've put beans in there. We put my wife planted sunflowers everywhere in there today, so we've got like a strip of about a foot just after the logs, and we've turned that into a flower bed. Um, Matt B saying the machete idea was better. Matt. So Matt's suggestion was give little Zachy a machete and let him deal with the hedges. Um, yeah, I don't feel brave enough to do that yet. I encourage toads by putting old clay pots for them to hide in. Okay. Um, do you, because we used to get them, in the long grass. Because I have a lot of long grass areas, and used to just hide in areas around the long grass and just in little holes and under rocks and stuff. I haven't changed that, but they've just seemed to have disappeared in the last couple of years. Most, yeah, last year I noticed them a lot less, and this year I'm noticing them uh, a lot less as well. But I might put a few clay pots out and see what happens. Um, um, have I missed an update on your pet rat, Sherry? No, I still haven't. I still haven't dealt with him yet. So there's I'm quite scared of rats. I'm not a very ratty person or a rodenty type person. There's a rat that's if anyone doesn't know, if anyone didn't catch last week's live stream, there's a rat that's crawled into my worm bin into where the juice comes out from the worm bin, and he's died in there. And he stinks something rotten down the bottom end of the garden, and I need to get him out, but I just haven't got the courage to get him out yet. I do have a pond. I've got some goldfish in it, some little shabumpkins and stuff, but we get frogs in there. We get frogs. We get frogs spawning in the spring, and we get frogs everywhere. But toads, we used to have loads of toads in the garden. Since last year, I've noticed a lot less. I've not changed anything for them, but I don't know why they're reducing. So that's something that I'm not best pleased about, to be honest with you. Muhammad Ali, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Roots to a garden. Hope you're keeping well. Thank you very much for coming in. Uh, my hobby will come and move it if you pay for the petrol. um, whereabouts are you based? Because I think you're based on the other side of the pond, aren't you? Um, Alan Taggart from Northern Ireland. Thank you very much for coming in, mate. Hope you're keeping well. Do you think Malvern might be on if the government changed the plan was Malvern's going to be on, and hopefully there's going to be a big get together there like there was a couple of years ago. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they did something with Chelsea Flower Show, didn't they? They sort of did a virtual type of thing. So I don't know. I really don't know. But Steve, you're always welcome to pop over this side, and we can have a little get together and get together at my house if you want. Um, I plant tiny bit of melon and long bean. We call it bora. Um, so a tiny bit of melon. That might be a different variety to what I've grown before. See, we grow long beans called lubi, but not. Uh, and Brian gave me a couple of yard long bean plants, so I think they're a type of lubi as well. So I'll see what they turn out as. Got them planted into the greenhouse as well today. Home allotment veggie beds. Thank you very much for coming in. I had a stag beetle in my polytunnel this week. Not seen one of those lot for years. That's amazing. Do you know? Was it the male one with the antlers, or was it or not? I found see there's the proper stag beetle, which is quite rare, and then there's a lesser stag beetle. And I got well excited last year. I think it was last year. I found one of the lesser stag beetles, and he was about an inch long, so about an inch long, and I got well excited, thinking, "Yes, I found a stag beetle." When I looked into it, it was a lesser stag beetle. He had a tiny little horn, but not the proper one. But if you found a stag beetle, that's fantastic. That um, a good few inches. I think they're the biggest beetle in Britain. Is it too late to start cucumber seeds? No, it's not. Um, one trick you could do is just plant them directly into the ground. If you're growing them in the greenhouse, definitely plant them directly into the ground. Um, if you're growing them outside, just be careful around slugs, but you could still get them in the ground as well. Middlesbrough, we're tough up here. Yeah, Yeah, we get a bit soft down in Yorkshire, don't we, when it comes to rats. Um, yeah, I can't deal with rats. I can't do it. Um, football is on its half time. Alan, I'm glad you came in to join us for a little bit. Um, the longer you leave it, the worse the smell. Deadly, yes, you're right. It reeks down there. That bottom end. Um, I started on trying. I was going to do it last weekend. I started emptying the worm bin so I could get the top off, and because my worm bin's an IBC. So one of those IBC containers, 1,000 litre IBC containers. I've cut it in half, and I turn the top half into the bottom half, and I use the top half to make worm compost. So I've started emptying that when I was filling my when I was filling my plant pots and stuff. Um, but I haven't quite finished it. So yeah, I know it's gonna smell bad, and I know it's gonna be disgusting when I get in there. Um, but I'm just doing anything I can to put it off. um, so yeah, it was a stag beetle, and it's in my video. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. That's a great find. I've been putting out citronella and peppermint to deter them. Not seen any so far. Zachary, what are you deterring with those? Um, Norfolk, terrible for the family. I thought he died. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay. Put some menthol rub on face mask. Okay. Citronella and peppermint to deter rats. Normally we don't get rats that bad. Because we've got, do you know what, a lot of people can complain about wild cats and stray cats and stuff. I let the cats into my garden, and they've normally kept the rats and stuff under control. But this year we had a quite a good freeze, but the last few winters have been really mild, and they've not been, a lot of those pests like rats and mice and stuff. They've not been killed off during the winter. So I think they've been, the population's been building up, but we're noticing them a lot more recently. And there's an area at the bottom of my garden, just under a sycamore tree. I've been using it as a bit of a dumping ground, so a lot of wood and a lot of fence panels and stuff that I'm not using is down there. I definitely need to clean that up and get it sorted, and just make that area just a little bit tidier. Um, So my other half says it will stop smelling if you leave it long enough. Once it's completely rotten and all I'm left with is a skeleton. Uh, Jomi, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thanks very much for coming in. How are you doing? Um, so Brian's back, and so is his appetite. Nice one, Brian. Uh, I'm glad you're getting a good fill. Um, it'll help keep your energy up. Um, how are we in the heat wave? It's lovely this weather at the moment, isn't it? But we just need a rain. I pulled a couple of garlic a few days ago. I think it might have been yesterday. Um, the bulbs are forming. They just need to mature now. But my roots, absolutely. I've put a couple of pictures up on Facebook and maybe on my community tab as well. But the roots are at least 8 inches long. Absolutely huge roots, and that's one of the things that I'm really impressed about with the garlic this year, because I've hardly watered them. Soil's nice and healthy, and they've just buried deep down to get the water. But the root, yeah, really impressed with the roots. A Danish player had a suspected heart attack in mid play. Wow. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. That sounds quite horrible, especially if it was live while you guys were watching. Um, I'm gonna have a look at that. That sounds horrible. Because didn't that happen to who was the Arsenal player? Start with a K. Arsenal player. That happened to him a few as well, didn't it? Um, to be honest, chickens attract rats. Deadly. I've not had a problem with rats. We had there were loads of rats in the garden when we first moved here. We got the garden under control. I mean, it was an absolute overgrown jungle. We cleaned that up. Uh, the rat got rid of the rats. We've never noticed any rat issues since. Yeah, despite having chickens, we've had chickens since we've been here, and it's only since last year they they sort they sort of moved into my greenhouse. So my red greenhouse, that's where they moved in and found a little place and made a little nest in there. Um, I've destroyed that. If you saw some of the hotbed videos I did at the start of this year, I found under my hotbed like a layer of a labyrinth of tunnels, and in the middle of that there was like a center, and it was just packed full of bread. There was even a complete burger in there. So one of the rats had got a burger, the meat, the bun, the everything. Just brought that in. Oh, it was yeah, it was quite nasty. Um, so I haven't seen any rats in my garden, but some people have, and we think a new built housing estate nearby is disturbing them. Um, yeah, Margaret, I hate rats. I'm proper scared of them as well. Um, See, Steve, garlic's okay, but the roots is the one that yeah, the roots are definitely the one that I'm really impressed with the most. So, Mark, Christian Eriksen, ex Spurs player. Okay. Well, I hope he makes a full recovery. So, there's an Arsenal player a few years ago it happened to. I can't remember his name. Bolton player as well. Did you grow any edible flowers, not nasturtiums? Marigolds, borage. Um, what's the purple one? Marshmallow. What else? I think they're the only edible flowers. So yeah, we've got nasturtiums, but marigolds, marshmallows, and borage. There might be some others on the list, but we'd have to have a look. Um, Chive flowers, yeah. See, if you saw Nitin's video, the tour that I did around Nitin's garden, he suggested taking some white vinegar, taking some flowers from chives, putting the flowers into the vinegar, and using that vinegar using that vinegar on your chips and stuff. Um, yeah, that's one that I need to try. Dandelions, down to the roots are edible. What is a big? Was it a Big Mac? See, I don't know. I didn't get into that much detail. It was proper nasty. I just sort of closed my eyes and shoveled it all into a bucket, and then off to the bin it went. Yeah, gladioli. Okay, so we've got gladioli as well. I didn't know they were edible. Um, Redbud tree has edible flowers. Um, I don't know the redbud tree. Um, Mahmoud Ali, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. You're very welcome. Barakallah feek. Thank you very much for coming in and saying hello as well. Um, Viola flowers are edible. There's another one. Um, it's Declan. First time growing garlic. Pulled half of them out about 3 months ago because I thought they didn't grow properly, looked like baby leeks, and use them fresh in the stir fry. Rest of them grew beautiful. Yeah, see, Declan. I mean, there's an old saying: plant on the shortest day, harvest on the longest day. I don't think that fits any. I don't. Yeah, I don't think it fits. What I tend to do is I plant in early October, mid October, and I harvest sort of anywhere from now until the end of June, and that gives me a good harvest of garlic. It keeps my beds protected over the winter, um, and while before I'm gonna do a video, I'm actually filming a video tomorrow. I've got a video planned to be filmed tomorrow, where I'm gonna talk about successional planting, interplanting, and companion planting. So there's such a big overlap between the three areas, so I'm gonna talk about them all in one thing together. Um, and look out for that video because I think that'll help quite a few people, especially with pest control and stuff. Um, so don't zucchinis have edible flowers? Yes, they do. All gold flowers are edible. Um, Hello from hot and sunny London, Christine. Thanks very much for coming in. Cauliflower, broccoli, edible flowers. Oh, there we go. So there's loads of edible flowers. Um, so maybe the rats had a wedding. It looked like they were having a party down there anyway. Alliums normally start to bulk up from the longest day. Onions mainly. Yeah. See, garlic's normally done by that time. But onions definitely now is not the time when they're putting on most of their growth around the bulb. So far they've been putting a lot of top growth on, getting the plants ready, and now is when they're going to bulb up. Um, so Muhammad Ali, I'm 12, mashallah. What's your view on white vinegar as a weed controller? Um, I think I wouldn't use it. Not on anywhere that maybe in between slabs and stuff like that. I'd use it, but I wouldn't use it on anywhere near where I'm gonna try and grow stuff. So anywhere near flower beds, anywhere near grass, anywhere near vegetable beds, because vinegar it's killing weeds. Just think about what it's going to do to plant roots as well. It's going to harm them. It'll harm your grass. It'll harm those sorts of things as well. So yeah, I wouldn't use it around that sort of area. Maybe if you've got cracks or some pavements, maybe, but I wouldn't use it anywhere else. I've a rat in my wormery. What am I gonna do, guys? Right, it's past 9 o'clock. We've been on for just over an hour and 10 minutes, so I'm gonna call it a day here. Um, and we'll catch you next week. Same time. Yeah, and if you haven't hit that like, please give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and share my videos out as well if you don't mind. If you could stick some of my videos on some groups around the places, I'd really appreciate that. It'd really help me out as well. So, right, you guys take care everywhere. You guys take care, and I'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.